This is a prepaid debit call from
I know.
an inmate at the correctional institution. To accept this call, press 0.
Yo, yo, yo. This is Jonathan Rodriguez, one of your co hosts here at the Rant Podcast. And I'm here with my other co host, Caesar.
What's good?
And
What's good?
today, right? Yes, was good, was good. And so today, guys, we want to address something that we think is important, right? And now we don't necessarily think this is important for political reasons, right?
Yeah,
But
no.
we think it is important to talk about because of the history of this show, right? And I also
Yep.
think that this is the perfect time to just throw it out there that your boy is officially off probation. So I'm done with stint with the law, and I'm really happy about that. So
Congrats,
just had to put that out. Thank you. It's been a long time coming. I mean, it's been about 6 years that I've been dealing with this case. So it was a big weight off my shoulder to officially get released from probation. And that's why we think it's really important to kind of discuss what we're going to discuss today. And that's the impact, right? The impact of fair chance hiring and whether or not this presidential election, right, is actually going to have an impact on fair chance hiring, right? And what we really mean by that, right, is we have a president who was a former president and who is planning on running again for the presidency. And this former president of ours, is now a convicted felon. And now, whether or not he was guilty, right, or whether or not you think that that was fair, right, because there's a lot of people that have all these controversy. That's whatever, right? There's plenty of people who have been convicted of felonies who think that they're innocent. Okay, yeah. So Donald Trump is just another one of those people, all right? So let's not think that
Yeah.
he's special, okay? 'Cause I definitely think that there was a lot of unfair shit that went on with my own case, and so if I had to deal with that, I'm glad one of the elites did too. I'm just saying, all right. I'm just saying he's an elite, and at the end of the day, just because you got money and power, I don't believe should kind of keep you away
Get
from
to
getting
walk
in
away
trouble.
from the
So if
justice
he did do it,
system. Yeah.
you feel me? Yeah, exactly. So if he did
Yeah.
do it, good for the courts, right? If he didn't, hey, you're just one of a million, my dog. Big Donnie T, so you'll be fine, all right? This isn't the
Big
first time this
Donnie
happened.
T.
Big Donnie T, right? Yeah. So, anyways, but my point is, right? My point is, are we felon it? All right? Y'all see what we did there? That was Caesar. Caesar. Are we feeling it, right? Are we feeling it, man? Like, let's talk about it, right? So,
Yeah.
fair chance hiring, and I'm going to do this quick explanation. But with fair chance hiring, basically, what's happening is that we are attempting to shift the way that job seekers and employers kind of interact with one another, right? And what we mean by that is that in this country, we know that when you have a felony or when you have something on your background, it's not easy to get a job, right? And the reason it's not easy to get a job is because you're kind of immediately struck
Excluded.
from excluded, right? You're immediately dismissed the moment that people find out that you have a felony, right? These things actually become a problem. And so with fair chance hiring, what a lot of states and what a lot of certain politicians are trying to do is they want to give people with felony backgrounds, with criminal backgrounds. And remember, having a criminal background doesn't mean you have a felony, right? It means you can have a misdemeanor. It means you may have gotten in some type of interaction with the law, right? Sometimes just being arrested one night, or just having some type of run-in with the police can often lead to that coming up on your background, and then you don't get hired for a position, right? That
Yeah.
is hard to deal with, right? And so the way that fair chance hiring is attempting to combat that is by attempting to force companies to not ask the question of whether or not you have a felony until the end of the process, right? So what that means is they want to give you the fair chance of competing for this job in a way that doesn't, hinder you based on your background, right? And so what that means is that, right, they want to leave the question of whether or not you have a felony to be one of the last things they ask you, so that throughout the process they've been evaluating you based on your skills and not necessarily so much based on your history, right? And so that's where you get a lot of ban the box kind of legislation that's been passing all over the country, right? A lot of municipalities, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that those municipalities are north of 180. So more than 180 municipalities across the United States, right? That states, cities, and counties have banned the box laws in place, right? And so what that means is that the box where you would check whether or not you're a felon is something that they cannot have on their job application, and it's something that they cannot ask you of until a job offer is contingent upon your background check, right? So I've said
Hmm.
a lot. I've said a lot. And basically what I'm trying to say is if the most important job in the United States, right, we would argue that the most important job in the United States is the presidency. If if that job is felon friendly, then could you make the argument that every other job in the United States ought to be felon friendly? Right? What do you think, Cease?
No, you're making a case. Actually, you're not even making a case. Logically speaking, that trajectory it should be the case. If the
Yeah.
most important if the most important role in this country and the world technically is felon friendly, then why should any other job hold you accountable for something that the president isn't being held accountable to? Like, I mean, again,
That's all I'm
I'm
saying.
like,
Really,
if
you
we're
know what I'm
gonna follow
saying?
the logic, if we just following basic logic, we're not asking for the felonies to be removed. We're just asking, like, yo, if a felon could be a president, why can't I be a felon in a managerial role at my job? Like,
Why
that
can't I
has
be a
no.
banker?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
feel me? Like, why can't I be a banker? Why can't I be a police officer? Why can't I be
yeah.
a firefighter? Right? I could keep going down this list. There's so many things that I am not eligible to be or to do anymore because I have a criminal background. Yet, let's look at the logic. The highest office in the land, right? The highest office in the land is arguably about to be felon friendly. And that's why we wanted to have this conversation, right? Because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
wanted to talk about fair chance hiring and the impact of this presidential election, right? I don't give a damn what you think about Donald Trump. I don't give a damn what you think about any of these presidential elections. The point is
Yeah,
that man was now convicted of a felony, right? And again,
yeah.
there are many people in this country who have been tried in what they may deem an unfair fashion. So I don't want to hear that. I don't care, right? I don't care, right? Just because this dude got power doesn't mean I'm suddenly going to feel bad for him, especially when millions of
Yeah.
people deal with this every year,
All
right?
day, every day.
He was held accountable. And if he can be president still, I think that's a conversation that we got to have. I think that that is something that as a society, we have to start getting ahead of, right? Because the truth is that there's a lot of common myths among hiring felons that people don't realize really aren't true, right?
Mm.
So, like, one of those myths is that people with past convictions are unreliable, right? That's the myth. The fact is that employees with past convictions are no more likely to be fired and or more likely to have longer tenures than employees without convictions. You know what that means? That means that felons tend to be a lot more loyal than people that don't have felonies. Do you know why they tend to be a lot more loyal than people without felonies? Can you take a guess, C's?
I mean, I know why. I know why. Because
Right.
you'll go
It
straight back
makes
to
sense.
jail if you ain't got no job.
Because you'll go
You
straight
go
back to
back
jail if
to
you ain't got no job. And ain't nobody
okay.
else want to give this guy a job, right? Like
Yes,
nobody else
yeah.
wants to give this person a job. So when a
They
company
think it's
finally
serious.
does decide, right? Yeah, when a company finally does decide to give these people a job, they're grateful. They're
Yeah.
they're appreciative. And they realize the impact of not having this job, like to Caesar's point, isn't worth it. Right.
No.
And so that's a common myth that a lot of people don't know. But this is proven by facts. And I can actually let me cite it for you one time. That insight is from Kellogg Northwestern University. Right.
Hmm.
So kellogg.northwestern.edu. All right. So that's from Northwestern University. All right. The second myth that I'm going to address right here. All right. I came ready today. See, I was pissed. You
Okay,
hear me?
okay,
I'm
okay.
pissed. I'm ranting right now. This. I don't even need my 1 minute rant at the end of this. My second myth is that past imprisonment impedes on someone's ability to perform as an employee. Right. So a lot of people believe that just because you were incarcerated in the past, or just because you were a troublemaker in the past, that impedes your ability to perform as an employee. And a study of 1.3 million military enlistees found that enlistees with past convictions had superior performance compared to those with no convictions. All right. And that
Mm.
is from the University of Massachusetts. All right. So I'm coming at y'all with facts. You hear me? Coming at y'all with
Yeah, yeah,
facts. 1.3 million military enlistees found that, or a study of 1.3 million enlistees showed that individuals with past backgrounds performed better than individuals without them. Why? You have more to lose when you
yeah,
got a criminal background. You got more to prove, and you ultimately just perform better because this is a shot that you didn't think you were going to have in the first place.
yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense. All right, guys. I, you know, I could go all day. I could go all day. But Caesar, man, tell me what you think, bro, cuz this is big. And I don't think people realize how big this actually is. We have
Yeah.
a an ex-president that was convicted of 34 felonies. And let me just say this. He was given every opportunity to prove those felonies wrong. He was given every opportunity to present evidence that he was innocent, and he didn't. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. He didn't present any information that he was innocent. So I mean, I think that should speak a lot of volumes to people. But I mean, because if I was innocent and I had the if I had the proof and I and I had the evidence that I was innocent, man, what? I'd be screaming from the top of a mountain like, "Hey, hey!" All right, so what do you think, though, Steve, man? Because yeah, let's get your opinion on this, man. I can't be the only one
um,
feeling.
the thing is, I like I there's one thing I love about this is it for this to happen. One, it shows a what's wrong with the system, right? Because
Right.
it's like if he can get to the seat of the presidency with these felonies, why does everything else matter? It makes me question everything else, right? Like, is what we've been known to understand about society when it comes to felonies, um, what we've known about what it means to come out of jail, and then how hard it is to like get a job. Like, does that matter if the most important seat in the world can take felonies? Like, he's not the presidency is not anything to joke at, to scoff at. Like, that's a seat where you're making decisions for a whole nation. You're technically the number one country in the world, so you're making decisions for the world. Um,
Yeah.
you're making
Yeah.
economic decisions. You're making military decisions. You're signing off on laws that are going to be imposed on the people that voted you in. Um, so again, for me, it's like I don't even I love it because now for me it tests out the hypocrisy behind the whole system. Right? There's no other
Yeah.
way to shine a light on anything. I mean, obviously, I don't. Regardless of how I feel about the guy and everything else, like that's not. I'm not here for that part of the conversation. But the one thing that I'm getting from this is if they allow for this, then the hypocrisy behind everything else, it almost throws everything out the window. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what, like, and technically the answer should be no, but it goes back to what you said earlier, man. Like, these political elites on both sides of the spectrum. It doesn't matter what you look at. Like, they can get away with things, or allowed to get away with things, because one, they know the law. They know that they got the buddies that made the laws, so they can get around it. They got the money to get around it. But what about the rest of us that aren't in that space, right? Like, are they then allowed
Yeah.
to live outside the law because they made the law? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that does technically, for me, it doesn't ring well, because then the whole thing we're doing is it's a charade. It's really just a, like I said, hypocrisy amongst um political elites to impose laws on us because we have no power, and then they get to live outside of them and do whatever they want. um
Right. Yeah.
so again, for me, I that's the part that I love. Like, it's making me question like what really matters. So at the end of it, like, the part that I think matters for us, even for me, is like questioning how things are going to move forward if they allow for this. Like
Yeah.
it's
The
crazy.
truth
Like
is the truth is that as a populace, we should not be okay with that. Like, you know what I mean?
no,
Because again, it's easy to kind of brush it off when you have no skin in the game, right? Um,
yeah,
but the truth is that these individuals are not being held, liable. They're not being held
accountable.
accountable the way that the rest of us would. And that's usually that's the part that angers me the most, right? Because I have a felony, yet I'm being told left and right that I can't do X, Y, and Z. Now, a political elite gets his felony and it's like nothing ever happened, and that's a big fuck no for me, right? Like that's where it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. If we're not
Hey,
holding highest office in the land to the same standard as a fucking bank teller, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't be a bank teller, but you can run the whole goddamn country and arguably the world.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that doesn't that's something that needs to be addressed, right? And again, right? What's the business case for inclusive hiring, right? What do
yeah,
businesses get out of inclusive hiring, right? And I can tell you right now, one one in 3 Americans have some type of criminal background. That means that 1/3 of all people in the United States. That means 1 out of
yeah.
every 3, right? That means 3 to 4 out of every 10. 30 out of every 100. You feel me? Like
30%, 30, 30,
3, like
33
33,
point
right?
thirty
Like
three three three
30%.
percent
Exactly. Like, guys, that's a lot of people. So, what are the benefits for these companies? You get access to a larger talent pool. You're immediately dismissing over 100 million people in the US when you decide you don't want to hire felons. That's, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like that's a lot of talent. That's a lot of lost talent that you're just completely saying I don't even want to mess with, right? So imagine, again, I'm in that pool, right? I'm an individual that I would think I have something to offer, right? Like I'm not stupid, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I have a college degree, right? I have some credentials behind my name, yet, right? It's hard for me to
It,
get a job
it's
because
a
I have a
wash.
felony, right? It's
It's
a
a
wash.
wash.
Number 2, right? Higher rates of engagement, right? Higher rates of individuals wanting to be there, right? Again, if you
Yeah,
hire someone that historically has been told no at every corner, well, yeah, when they get into your company, they're gonna do everything right. They're gonna want to be engaged. They're gonna want to be a part of the culture. They're gonna bring up morale, right? And these are things that are being found in studies. I'm not just saying this to say it,
yeah.
right? Second, reduce turnover. They don't tend to leave, right? Once they're hired, right? Once they're hired, they stay for a long time, right? So
Mm,
again, these are the benefits that employers would have, not even the people who have the felonies. You have a positive impact on the community, right? And your corporate image, because guess what? Now you're actually hiring the people in the community that need the jobs, and guess what? They don't have to do. They now don't have to turn back to crime, right? Like
yeah,
because the reason that people usually turn back to crime is because they have the felonies in the first place and because no one will give them a job. If everyone's telling you no, you can't get a felony and you have to still feed yourself, you still have to pay for rent, you still have to live somewhere, but you can't live with mom, dad, uncle, mom, and auntie, whatever, because they're on public assistance, right? So again, positive impact on the community and your corporate image, and enhanced diversity and innovation. Enhanced diversity and innovation. Basically, that just means you got people from different walks of life in your company. Therefore, when you're brainstorming, you got all types of perspectives coming at you. It helps in the end. So
yeah,
again, it the case for inclusive hiring is undeniable, right?
yeah,
It's something that every employer could benefit from. Yet it's something that isn't being done enough, right? And again, it starts systemically, right? Because a lot of companies systemically want nothing to do with felons, right? There's
yeah,
something in their pipeline that won't even allow them to even talk to felons. And so again, guys, what I'm saying is that we should have a little more respect for the highest office in the land, right? And if
yeah.
if we if we've proven that it's okay.
And then to close it, at least from my end, it's like, hey man, they're doing it in our faces. So that's the other problem. Like they're doing it right in our faces. So if we let them slide on this, they're gonna do it again. You know, if you let somebody slap you and you saw he did it, he gonna come back again and get another one.
I'll slap you the next time too. Believe that.
Yeah,
All right, I've
probably
seen that
harder.
in action. Harder every time, harder. guys, hey, with all of that being said, I just want to remind you that you can find us on all major platforms, right? You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Instagram. You can email us at our email, rantwiththeboys@gmail.com. If you need anything, if you have any inquiries, if you have questions, right, just please reach out to us, guys. We are always responsive, and we love when we hear from you. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
just let us
guys,
know.
we've reached that special. Yeah, just let us know. Now we've reached that special moment in the episode where we're going to dive into
You have 1 minute remaining.
our 1 minute rant.
All
See,
right, so I could start it off. You know, I'm gonna remind you guys, don't let nobody steal your peace. Um, that's something you can control. You can't control what other people do. You can't control what other people say. Um, but you can control how it affects you and how long that lingers in you, right? Like this past week, I caught myself being mad about something that wasn't my fault. There wasn't something that I could control what the other person was going to do. And then I was like, they're going to do this anyways. So like, why am I letting this fester inside of me? Like, why am I like over here walking around angry when I'm like, they're not even thinking about me. They're just over there doing them. And if that's what they want to do, that's fine. I can't let them steal my peace. Like it's mine. It's mine to keep, and I'm not letting go of it.
man, and the thing is, sometimes we just give it away. Sometimes we just give our peace away, right? Like we
Yeah.
let people take that from us, and not only will
Yeah.
we let them take it, sometimes we'll just give it to them.
Yeah.
So that's a good one, Caesar. I appreciate you. Um, my 1 minute rant today is man, these smartphones are dangerous. These smartphones, like I can't go to the shitter without bringing my phone with me. I can't, and sometimes I'll end up in the bathroom a whole hour more than I wanted to just because I'm scrolling on my phone the whole time. Right. I don't know. I'm at a point where I'm realizing just how detrimental these little devices have kind of become. Right. Like the fact that I can't go anywhere in my own house without having my phone on me. Like I think that that's sometimes like, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I have to give myself a break. Like, I'm purposely like, hey, I got to leave this bad boy just charging in this room right here. Let me just go on with my day. And crazy enough, that's how life used to be. Like I used to have no problem putting this phone down and leaving. But also I'm talking about an era where the phones weren't so smart. So it's been a wild ride, man. I just want to encourage all of you to put these little electronic devices down, right? Of course it's weird that that's coming from an electronic device, right? As we're sitting here on a platform that you probably aren't hearing on anything other than your electronic device, so keep listening. But but I'm just saying that definitely put down these electronic devices and let's get a little more fresh air these days, man. You just get a little time away from it, realize how much you're like sometimes it's hard to realize how much you're addicted to something until you kind of try to put it down. So, you know, make sure you're not too
Yeah.
addicted. You feel me? Yeah, that's all I had to say. Because I find myself sometimes struggling with that too. So, I just wanted to say that. All right, guys. But with all of that being said, go ahead, close us out, C's.
Hey man, rant out.